table. It is going to be Kenneth on Snorlax up against Iann Robb with that Regidrago V-Star. So a lot of gameplay from Iann in this matchup, but Kenneth is just trying to make it as hard as possible for Iann to take all 6 prizes.
I'm looking at Iann's list right now, Jeremy, and I do not see a single canceling cologne here. So that is going to be a very interesting win con for Iann here, but Kenneth playing all of the tech cards in the world. Specifically, I think when you're playing that Snorlax, you have tons of opportunities, tons of great supporter cards to help you out and kind of throw off your opponent here. Specifically, I am looking at that Misfortune Sisters, getting rid of all of those energy switches for Iann. That could be a little troublesome.
Yeah, the exclusion of canceling Cologne kind of pointed to Iann saying, yeah, I'm not worried about Iron Thorns EX. It may have won Worlds, but it was only 1% of the field this weekend, but is going to have to battle through Snorlax and Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon.
I may have just commentary cursed it, but out of 3 of the Misfortune Sisters in the deck, 2 of them are now in the prizes alongside that accompanying flute there, where we can look at the top 5 cards of an opponent's deck and then fill that bench. Now, granted, it's not an Iron Thorn, so we are still able to draw through the deck with our Teal Mask Ogerpon EX with that ability Teal Dance. But I'm excited to see how Iann is going to handle this one. I think, Jeremy, if you could just back me up here, I think our just great point of play here is just let's go on ahead and Phantom Dive over and over, stack the energy up around the board, because that just seems like the best way to go.
Just a grass energy on the Regidrago V and a pass to the turn. One card that's going to be pretty cool in this matchup is that Handheld Fan. It's a Pokemon tool that says whenever your opponent attacks, you got to move 1 energy to one of your bench Pokemon. But and turn 1 Eerie, getting rid of a Prime Catcher is insane.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see here. But the thing is, Regidrago V-Star with that Legacy Star here, very important to note out, we can actually go on ahead and get that Prime Catcher back. We discard the top 7, so it is technically random unless you're able to manipulate it in certain ways. And we could get it back here, but you're only able to get 2 cards back. So we have to really kind of prioritize getting that Prime Catcher back, because you know either one of these Ogerpons are going to be stuck, or you're not going to be able to do much if Kyurem comes down.
Yeah, Kenneth's not going to be able to do too much if Iann just finds Energy Switch Fire Energy with Attacker in the discard for your Apex Dragon. We could see a pretty quick game 1 here. Still has access to that Legacy V-Star.
Gotta look at the hand too, Jeremy. I mean, you're bringing it up right now. I believe I see 2 Boss's Orders, if that, and
this is it, I think.
This could be it, especially. Oh, and there's the Legacy Star here too. So
no, not even. You Ultra Ball for the Giratina V-Star. You Earthen Vessel it to the discard. You have the Fire Energy attached for the turn. I believe there's an energy switch in the discard already.
There is, and now off of the Legacy Star as well, we could be seeing what I'd like to call the fastest control game quite possibly ever. There's the attach, and we are going to Apex Dragon, copy Lost Impact, Iann Robb, a masterclass showing us here at Baltimore.
Yep, pretty good when your opponent starts just 1 Pokemon. The Eerie did not matter at all, as Iann just has the perfect setup to be able to take the victory with just a single attack. Who cares about Handheld Fan when you're just winning the game?
Absolutely. I mean, no backup at all here, too. We couldn't even find anything to stick in the active, too. I know for Snorlax in particular, that Erica's Invitation can also kind of trap Kyurem, right? Kyurem has, I want to say, 3 retreat costs just off the top of my head, and Iann doesn't really have a way to pick it up once it's down there. But best possible scenario here for Iann Robb, just turn 2 attacking, showing why Regidrago V-Star just BDIF.
Yeah, it is very just consistent and versatile at what it does, and Iann is now 1 win away from yet another top 8 in this format, or top cut in this format.
I was about to say, Jeremy, okay, this is a great opening hand for Iann, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because we already have Kyurem in hand, and I do believe I also saw a Squawkabilly. Prizes going down, though. I don't like this coming out from Iann. A lot of resource cards actually going right in there, that being 2 out of the 3 Regidrago V-Stars that he does play. But a couple of important techs here for Kenneth here, too. Erica's Invitation and Penny and Boss's Orders, but it will be Iann going first, probably grabbing the Squawkabilly here.
Yeah, well, you can grab the Squawk ability, but the damage that it could do, like, it's only 20, right? So if it gets stuck in the active, you're going to be spending a lot of time not really doing too much. 2 Reggie Drago V-Star in the prize cards, along with the Super Rod, and it is not too good for Iann. But again, this is a game where you're going to have so much time.
You have tons of time to figure it out, and especially when your game one was, what, 4 minutes at
Yeah.
max? Which is,
Not even. It was 2 minutes and then 2 minutes of shuffling.
I feel like we also saw a very fast control game on the other side for Ryan Antonucci yesterday. Could have been the fastest control set I've seen in a hot minute, but Iann Robb once again putting on a masterclass for us, showing what happens when your opponent just doesn't get another Pokemon down. But I think Kenneth's hand is a lot better this turn, also has the Rotom, but we got to see what Iann is looking and thinking about for. Can go on ahead and also just start teal dancing. We are going to be able to just draw 1 card here too. And I think if it's one thing a lot of people at home should just know is that the more cards in your hand, the better.
Yeah, good job on that analysis. It's great.
Listen, man, I'm doing my best here.
Drawing cards is good. Maybe
Draw
not
card
against
good.
maybe not against a mill deck, but
I don't
it's
see how
not
Groot
technically
does
a mill deck. It's just, you know, trying to stall things.
Yeah, absolutely. Cornerstone Ogerpon, that teal dance coming in here is going to be just that fire energy on to Reggie Drago. And like we said, here comes Squawkabilly. It is a liability now that you're bringing it up. But the thing is, we do have the Prime Catcher now, I believe, in hand, or still in the deck here. Hawlucha now also kind of can be a liability, but Iann does have at least the Ultra Ball for next turn, so we are going to be able to grab that last copy of Raji Drago V-Star in the deck here. It will be the Nest Ball, though, going on over into Kenneth's side. Like we said, Rotom V is going to be in the deck, so now we're just doing a couple of counts here. Honestly, a lot of our Pokemon are here. Some of our key supporters, though, are missing.
Yeah, Snorlax is a deck that's really missing an old supporter that we used to have, Peonia, to try to grab some of those cards in the prizes. So basically, you're just left playing with what you have, minus those 6 cards. And having multiple Pokemon in play, a big difference from game 1.
Yeah, things are looking a lot better for Kenneth this turn, right? We got some Snorlaxes in play, do have the Flute, and our ace spec of choice here is going to be the Hero's Cape here. So something important to note, that Kyurem, a lot of the times that Snorlax players love to target, just kind of keep trapped there, is already in the discard pile. I know if you remember a certain ability that was able to grab Pokemon out of the discard and put them back on the bench, and then you counter Kencher. Snorlax was certainly played very differently way back when.
Yeah, I'm missing Echoing Horn
Yes.
real bad in this format.
I didn't know like one of your favorite types of decks to kind of like pilot was Control. Today I learned.
Yeah, I'm pretty degenerate when it comes to that. I love cards like Path to the Peak that we used to have. Oh, wow. Coupling Flute, grabbing that Reggie Drago V, not too bad. I mean, it's already in play.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world either here too. Counter Catcher not online, so all of that energy already on the current active Pokemon can just stay there. But it is just going to be an instant charge here from Kenneth, heading on back over to Iann's turn. Like we said, we had a couple of resources to kind of work with here too. And honestly, Jeremy, if worse comes to worse here, if they decide to bring up that Reggie Drago V, we can still Dragon Laser, but granted, a lot of the times the Control players and the Snorlax players, they see that Squawkabilly on the bench, they're hungry for it.
All right, looks like it is some clarification between the table judges and our players, it seems like. Maybe just starting Iann's turn.
I think about it too here. I think if we are going to attack onto the Snorlax with the handheld fan, if I'm Kenneth, I'm actually going to move that fire energy probably to the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX here.
Yeah.
A Teal Mask Ogerpon EX attacks for 3 grass energy. It really doesn't really help with the math at all here. So could be a potential play here. Iann going to Nest Ball, though, for the Mew EX. So just in case Mimikyu comes down at some point, that Safeguard ability prevents a lot of the damage that Reggie Drago can do, but we are able to actually copy it. But actually going to send the fire energy to the Squawkabilly, so it is technically an attacker, question mark?
Yeah, well, again, one thing about the putting it on the Teal Mask is Teal Mask does more damage based on the number of energy on it with that Myriad Leaf Shower. So even though it attacks for 3 grass energy, still can utilize that fire. Here's another accompanying flute. Does not hit a Pokemon though. And with the way the board is kind of set up, Iann is going to be taking this slow, but that handheld fan could prove big for Kenneth.
See where all of the energy gets blown off to here in this match. I would say probably one of those Misfortune Sisters is going to come down now, and it's going to be looking at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck and getting rid of any of those items. So it is going to be the switch, and I do believe that is a one-of switch and the earthen vessel as well. So I don't know if we have another reliable way to grab another fire energy, but Iann does play what Regidrago considers a standard 3 fire energy line, but thankfully there were no energy switches in that.
Yeah, no energy switches just yet, but the one-of switch is huge. That means only Prime Catcher is going to be available until Iann decides to use that Legacy Star, V-Star ability.
Attaching that fire once again onto the Regidrago V. We are probably going to see another Dragon Laser, or even just we're going to go on ahead and Apex Dragon at this point. There could be an interesting line where we do try and find the Dragapult EX's Phantom Dive, maybe even the Prime Catcher here to bring up another Snorlax and go for hits with finding Prime Catcher and then spreading the damage that way. But Iann is going to be able to find the jamming tower here, so we're going to turn off the fan, but it is going to be the boss's orders right now.
I'm a fan of this play.
And yeah, the boss's orders here, and it will just be the Dragon Laser that does do it. No Regidrago V-Star needed. Great knockout from Iann.
Yeah, taking 2 Snorlax off the board is always great, especially when you knew your opponent had that Hero's Cape in hand. So now Kenneth is on the back foot here, trying to just set up a board yet again. Otherwise, next turn, we could just see game over.
Okay, Pokegear 3.0, we have tons of options here. It is going to be the Arven grab for probably what we are going to assume is going to be the one of 4 counter catchers in this deck. Counter catcher a great way, and we could probably assume we are going to be grabbing either probably the Regidrago V at this point because it has no energy onto it, but it seems like next turn Iann is lining up for a Legacy Star.
Yeah, I don't know if we're seeing a counter catcher play here because Kenneth needs Pokemon. Nest Ball is probably the card of choice, trying to find it. Something like a Mimikyu, just to maybe buy a couple turns with 2 Snorlax down, 1 in the prize cards. There's just 1 left in the deck. And yeah, we're going to see that Nest Ball here. Kenneth really trying to rebuild this board.
I think for a lot of Regidrago V-Star players, they were really kind of opting for Temple of Sinnoh to try and help their Lugia matchup, but Iann's still holding true to the jamming tower. But like you said, Jeremy, it is going to be the Nest Ball for the Snorlax here. Already had 2 counter catchers in hand, so we already got that covered here. But like you said, Mimikyu, with that Safeguard ability, able to block out damage from Pokemon with rule boxes here, the V's and the EXs in particular. But it is going to opt for the Snorlax here. Going to use that switch card to get Rotom V back on the bench. And there is the counter catcher, like we talked about, onto the Drago V with no energy on it.
Yeah, this is kind of playing around another boss's orders play, potentially, just because you can bring up that squawk ability, but a boss's orders is a simple retreat for Iann. But Kenneth is very much on the back foot here. Iann having plenty of options, even Ultra Balls away, a couple Pokemon that you don't want to see in play, and just not even grabbing anything, just getting them out of the hand.
See what we are going to get, though. Iann going to evolve into that Regidrago V-Star, use the restart to draw 2. Now, once again, we did see Switch go down here, but there's that Prime Catcher here that now with Legacy Star, we can actually get back. We can get back all of our switch options here. I do believe at one point I did see an Eerie in the hand for Kenneth, so it's not the worst in the world, but there's that Iono coming out here too. That's adding insult to injury too, because there goes all of the supporters that Kenneth had.
Yeah, that giant hand now at the bottom of the deck. The Hero's Cape that Iann knew about, just not available, especially with that jamming tower in play. And there's the big knockout. Iann down to 2 prize cards.
Has to use the Hisuian Heavy Ball here to get some help from the prizes, but Jeremy, it's just going to be one more Snorlax here. And I love the way that Iann is holding off on using the Legacy Star and just using everything that he has at his disposal before going into such a high commitment move and a high commitment V-Star power like Legacy Star here. So we are going to just go on ahead and grab another Snorlax here. Iann last turn using Hisui and Gudra's move Rolling Iron. So you take 80 less damage, but in a deck that doesn't attack, doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, it was just the one way to deal 200 damage against that Rotom V to take the knockout. Kenneth is kind of staring down like the worst possible scenario with Iann holding that Legacy Star for as long as possible, even with Switch and Prime Catcher gone. Iann can just grab both of them, and it kind of guarantees 2 knockouts in a row, which, by the way, Iann has 2 prizes left.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too here, Jeremy, is the fact that we had 2 Regidrago V-Stars prize, and Iann has access to them. So even if we bring up this Regidrago V, which we are going to opt for, it still can technically become an attacker too. So honestly, Iann in a great position here. Kenneth just needs to figure out the mapping here. Just going to go on ahead and pass right now. See what Iann's got in store for us coming in on his turn, but like you said, he is positioned great right now.
Yeah, it is interesting to see Kenneth continuing to bring up that Regidrago V over something like the Squawk ability that is on the bench, especially with no other Pokemon in play. Here is that evolution of the V-Star Energy Switch, and this is essentially checkmate here. Having the Legacy Star still available, Kenneth is staring down the worst possible board state.
What a turn coming out from Iann Robb, right? We haven't really seen him dig for the deck too hard. We saw the Mew. We have barely seen the professor's researches. Honestly, he's just kind of had it every single time, right? We haven't seen the use of Eerie at all either, but we're going to send up this Mimikyu, but honestly, Jeremy, Iann Robb has 1 prize card left. The moment that we see Legacy Star here, we could grab Prime Catcher. And unless it is just going to be the penny here to try and get rid of the Snorlax, Prime Catcher could do it. Boss could do it. Honestly, I just think he is so set up right now. There's the penny potentially. I'm thinking about it.
Penny has to be the play.
The penny has to be the play, right?
Kenneth is still worried about a potential canceling clone from Iann. We know it's not going to be in the cards. So Mimikyu is doing a lot of work. The one way to kind of go around it is maybe have it on the bench and Phantom Dive some damage counters and then eventually Phantom Dive again. But that's not going to be possible with no bench. And with Iann having the full board, you're going to have to charge up that Mew EX to try to take the knockout.
Yeah, not exactly our favorite way to do it, right? And especially because unless Iann has a couple of energy switches left, we could just kind of go on ahead and see even a Legacy Star to get some of those back, and then finding a way to just get Mew into the active and genome hacking Ghost Eye for the win. Which
I mean, it is very possible, and that is the route Iann is going to want to take. You have access to 2 energy switch guaranteed with that Legacy Star, so just needing 1 energy in hand or even just an energy switch in hand, you can retreat the active and use the energies from the benched Regidrago V-Star.
1 Mimikyu against the world here.
No
as it
Hero's
is
Cave
going
is
to
big.
be the pass, and you're right, Jeremy. No Hero's Cave, but Iann just reading that safeguard ability. No damage from EXs or Vs. It's just going to be the straight retreat. 3 energy down, the super rotting, the energy back in. Iann is going for it all this turn. If he has energy switches already in hand, he could find a way to power up this Mew EX, but we have not seen teal dances at all. There's the professor's research. Draw into just 7 fresh card. But here it is, 3 energy there. We have the opportunity to just attach for turn, and we'll see. It is going to be the Legacy Star. Iann reading it over again. There it is. 2 energy switches does it, and that is going to be Iann Robb, genome hacking Ghost Eye for the win. Iann Robb, a masterclass in how you beat stall as Regidrago.
Yeah, another top cut on the horizon for Iann Robb here in this format. Great play against a matchup that could be pretty troublesome for a lot of players. But Iann showing he knows what to do.
all business on his face too. Like no smile there. It was like, all right, bring me the next one.
I'm only going to smile after I win the tournament.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
basically the mentality you have to go with.
He did just take a nice deep breath though, so there's the smile. There it is. Bro's locked in, man. Once you get locked in, you get locked in. But what a masterclass, Jeremy. Honestly, such an exciting set too. From when a turn 2 knockout onto just a lone Snorlax into using Mew EX's genome hacking, where we are copying Ghost Eye for the knockout. It was certainly just all excitement here in the replay.
Yeah, blink and you miss it. That was game 1. A lone Snorlax getting knocked out by a lost impact from Giratina. Game 2 took a little bit longer to get things set up, but Iann, starting the Regidrago V is one of the best things you can do in this matchup. Just apply a lot of pressure. Kenneth was trying to flute and Misfortune Sisters get rid of stuff, got rid of the switch, but Iann having boss's orders, taking a double knockout with that Dragon Laser from the Regidrago V, and then just following it up with another 2-prize knockout thanks to that Xuan Gudra rolling iron, and then just here having energy switch for another Regidrago V-Star, taking a knockout, 1 prize left. Kenneth doing everything they possibly can to get that Mimikyu in play and set up a potential kind of stall board state, but Legacy Star saving it till the very end, having double energy switch, using genome hacking to copy that Mimikyu and taking the knockout. Mimikyu's great, but when Mew EX is in the format, there's a pretty easy counter to it.
Yeah, and like we said, no canceling Cologne in sight. We only just need our Mew EX to handle the job and get it done. A really great showing from Iann Robb. Love seeing him play. Such a hype player. And like we said, another rather quick control match that we've gotten to see over the weekend. I know Ryan Antonucci also had a really quick one too. So it's good to see the pace of play picking up too. But I gotta say, that match could have gone a completely different way if we saw Eerie onto some of the energy switches, but it just felt like Iann had everything he really needed in his disposal. It goes to show that your perfect sequencing and not really just kind of throwing cards to the wind is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get 12 Worlds invites by not learning everything possible about your deck. It is just great play, and that's really what you have to do in a lot of these matchups with Regidrago V-Star. You need that Legacy Star until the very end because you just end up wasting so many resources if you're forced to use it early.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good stuff from Iann, right? And I think that makes the difference between a good Regidrago V-Star player and a great Regidrago V-Star player. I think a lot of the times people just kind of use that Legacy Star and they're hoping for a card. Sometimes they just like pop it early, but you can hold it. If you have ways that you can keep attacking, you can hold it. You don't necessarily have to use it right away. And honestly, Kenneth did the right thing by getting rid of Prime Catcher early, right? Getting rid of the switches early with Misfortune Sisters, but it doesn't matter when you could just bring it back.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have our interview ready for the winner of our last round of Swiss. Go ahead and take it down to the lounge, and you'll hear from Skarzik.
Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm in the lounge with the winner you just saw on stream, Iann Robb, representing Regidrago once again. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling incredible. With the luck I've had this weekend, I was really not expecting to be sitting here in the lounge after a quick win against one of the matchups I was really not looking forward to facing. So I feel great right now.
Yeah, Drago being sort of preyed upon by control has been one of its biggest downfalls. And when I saw your matchup versus Snorlax, I said, oh no, he's only running one switch. What were your thoughts going into the matchup? Did you think it was going to be that bad of a struggle, or have you practiced the Snorlax matchup?
I played it a lot, and I think that some of the choices I made in my deck has actually made it a little bit better for me. I'll say one thing is it can be really random because a lot of cards like the Flute, who I start turn one really matters.
Yeah.
So the matchup is very volatile, but I knew what to do where exactly it went perfect according to plan for me, which was quick attacks, get the chain of knockouts going, and never use V-Star except for when the game is over. Or the other way is I want to put an item on bottom of my deck. Like, it'll say there, I should probably, if I didn't get the win, I was just going to go V-Star for Prime Catcher switch, Iono, keep Prime Catcher on bottom.
Okay, that's perfect. And to approach the matchup from that way, that level of resource management just comes with how familiar you've been with Regidrago V-Star. And heading into this tournament, I want to ask you for the deck pick, right? Were you worried that it was just going to be too hard countered, or is Regidrago just way too good and you just have to play around these bad matchups, or what was the thought process there of deciding to stick with this deck?
So going to this event, I knew that Regidrago was the deck I knew the best, for example, because before Worlds, I was testing it for 2 months. So I've had so much experience with it that I felt that I was always going to play the deck no matter what. But honestly, I felt pretty good about the deck overall. I was scared about some matchups, but at the end of the day, I think Regidrago V-Star is one of the best decks the game has seen in a very long time. So I felt that just by using skill and a little bit of luck, that I could still beat these decks that are supposed to be geared towards beating Regidrago.
Yeah, and before we actually came into the lounge for the interview, you were telling me that you haven't really hit a lot of your coin flips, and your opponents have been the ones deciding whether they're going first or second. Has that put you at a massive disadvantage, or?
I don't know really. It's been weird. So today, I've played 13 rounds of our tournament. I've won 1 coin flip, so it's been a little weird. I think that luckily a lot of those came against the faster decks. So I'm choosing first blind anyways, which I know there's a lot of debate about it. Some other players like Andrew Hedrick think he's supposed to blind second. So I noticed some conversation between very good players about it, but still, I was going to choose that first. So it wasn't as bad, but overall, it had a lot of matchups where you need to go first to have that advantage. But I was able to, a little bit of luck, handle this.
And choosing to go second is a kind of way to mitigate Raging Bolt, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah, all the faster decks, to quote 2-2-2, which is all these fast decks are really trying to get that quick knockout on these 2-prize Pokemon. So going second really allows you to draw a lot of cards and put Cleffa into active.
I see. And so already it's great to see, right, that Regidrago players are already adapting to these bad matchups, some things that have really risen to prominence. And in the final turns of that game we just saw on stream, you were double-checking the Mimikyu, triple-checking the Mimikyu, just to make sure that the Mew EX Ghost Eye has gone through. It was so funny because backstage we were all like, oh man, because I've personally done that play before when I had been practicing Regidrago against Snorlax. And so that's the first time that board state has kind of happened for you?
In a tournament, yes. I haven't really faced Snorlax yet in this format, so that was the first time where I actually had to do a tournament and be like, okay, how do I set this up? How do I make sure that the play goes through? Because that's very important in that matchup, because I have no other way to get through Mimikyu Underset except for Radiant Charizard, which you don't really want to use. I did beat a Pidgeot control yesterday, starting Radiant Charizard and attacking with it.
Okay.
But that's not really the game plan you want to go for. So I really just want to make sure that Mew worked. I know you had Miss Energy maybe. I still have access to Temple Sinnoh, so I thought I was going to be fine. Like, even had to pass a turn. But yeah, I really was just double checking, making sure that I had it, because I had so many options there that I didn't want to actually burn my V-Star and realize I messed up.
Yeah, I loved the patience and just the restraint to keep that Regidrago as a V and just use Dragon Laser. That way you're also playing around potential cornerstone stance. It was just a masterclass, I think, especially if you want to still get the last few tournament points for yourself, maybe some League Cup wins on Regidrago before the format really shifts out for Stellar Crown. Like, this is the player you got to be paying attention to, folks. Are there any other maybe pointers about Regidrago that you maybe want to share that you've discovered recently preparing for this tournament, or just in general as you become more experienced with the deck?
I think the biggest thing is really prioritizing Cleffa. And your V-Star is a last resort. You never want to be using your V-Star ability except for when you have to use it. And you saw on stream there, I was very hesitant to use my V-Star until the last moment, because just attacking Regidrago V can sometimes also be fine. It's more of a control thing, but in general, you really don't want to use your V-Star until you have to, just because of how hard it is to come back when the wrong 7 cards get discarded.
That is so true. And that was something that we were able to kind of touch on. I believe it was at the top of the show yesterday. The more experienced you become as a Regidrago player, the more and more situations you find yourself in being able to save that V-Star power for the coup de grace rather than using it for a setup like, oh, I need an energy switch in these top 7 cards or else I lose. And, that's me all day. But I guess I'll ask my usual question, of course. Any special shout-outs you want to give while I got you in the lounge?
So shout out to my family, shout out to my girlfriend, shout out to Zayaland again for helping me test and creating this deck list Friday night, which with all these interesting choices, I guess, in the deck. My list is a little greedy, so shout out to them helping me out making it. And yeah, also check out, of course, the Shuffle Squad, my team, and you know where to find me.
Absolutely, well said. And again, thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom about this deck that people know is strong, but I don't think they really grasp it in that level to understand what makes it strong, and you definitely demonstrated it for us here on stream. We're going to kick things back over to the casting desk, but don't go anywhere, because we've